The fitment is finally on point. Alright, so today we are installing these Eibach springs. Okay, so for the next step, there's 4 10mm bolts holding in this plastic cover right here. You can go ahead and take that off. After you get off those 4 10mm bolts for the plastic cover, there's this line right behind the rotor, which is held in by a 16mm, and you're gonna need a T30 right in the back of it to hold that bolt in. Okay, so now we have a E20 bolt and we have a 21mm nut on the other side, and then on the left side holding in the strut we have an 18mm bolt and an 18mm nut. Now once you get the 18mm and 21mm out, you can push the control arm down and the spring will come right out. Now once you get the springs out, just swap over the bottom grommet and the top hat and you can put the new springs back in. When you put the new springs back in, just make sure that the end of the spring is matched up with the end of the grommets, and then make sure this bottom tab is sticking out at the bottom. Alright, so this 18mm should go in pretty easy, but when you're putting in the E20, E21, you might have to jack the rotor up as high as you can. So you just put like the jack under the control arm, and when it's all the way up, if you push the rotor down, it should line up, but that took us a good maybe 30-40 minutes just trying to get that bolt in. Now that the rears are done, moving on to the front. Just gotta turn this and this cover should come off. And now there's 2 plastic tabs you have to take off to access the top of the strut. Once that plastic cover is removed, we have 4 E12s we have to get to next. I would just loosen the 4 E12 for now, and then in the middle you have a 18mm and you're going to need a special socket, and then it's going to be a T30 in the middle. Once you loosen the top strut off, just disconnect a couple of these cables right here, put in some WD-40 in the strut so it's easy to push down, and then there's going to be a 18mm bolt and a 16mm nut right over there that you're gonna have to take off, which I already did. And then I thought that was it, but well, according to Keys Motorsports video, that was it. But I guess the 2023s have a tie rod right over here. So this is a 21mm nut and a T30 in the middle. So I think once we get that off, we should be able to push the rotor down. So I got the rotor out, but I forgot to mention you will need this spindle spreader tool right here. This will help create this gap easy enough to push the rotor down, and then you can get the strut out. Now once everything is off, you can get a spring compressor tool, probably from AutoZone, Advanced Auto, any auto store near you. You can probably just rent one, and just make sure this is on tight enough for that the top hat is pretty loose and it spins, and then you can go ahead and take off this nut that you loosened before. Okay, so the rear springs are on. The front springs are on. Yeah, it was a bit of a task getting the top nut in using a spring compressor, but just make sure the ends match up to the rubber grommets, and yeah, you should be good to put everything back together. The fitment is finally on point. Look at that. Alright, so we got everything put back together, and now got the wheels on. I still think I need to get an alignment done, but yep, this is how she looks. That's how it currently sits. I think I still could use maybe a 5mm spacer or something to push the wheels out just a little more, but I guess we'll see how it sits after alignment, and it might settle down a bit too. So yep, that's how she sits.